the opportunity to listen and learn from you. So send us your responses.
Podcast, where we discuss all things business, including growth, strategy, and execution, as well as personal and professional development.
Yeah, who knows?
Let's join
Who knows
Howie
if we
and
get chatty
Beastmode in
again?
conversation.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'll pop it up here. So yeah, also a little bit of a caveat, which we have tried to put into this series. We know and love the audio only listeners of this podcast, but honestly, for this series, it's so slide intense with there's screenshots and examples and all kinds of stuff. You might want to consider checking this out on YouTube. And by the way, subscribe and like and comment, because that would help us out a lot. We never asked that, so maybe we should be asking that. Anyway, this is module 6 of the job search pro tips little series that we're doing, and it's about job search sites. And this is really the key to building the pipeline. Like, this is probably 80% of the pipeline is through this. So some good websites for job opportunities. The Ladders focuses on 100K plus jobs. And it's interesting, they've been around for a long time. My dad actually used them when they were real new, back in like the 90s, actually, believe it or not. But they're a premium. They offer a premium version for a monthly fee. I think it's $40 a month, something like that. Maybe it's gone up. But it provides access to their amazing Apply For Me feature. And they have people, I think that might be overseas, that actually fill out all these different job site applications for you. So for you, it's only one mouse click. And then behind the scenes, they're applying for a bunch of stuff. I think that that a recent job, the job that got me out of the 8.5 month job search during the horrible pandemic, I think it came from the Ladders. So best $40 I ever spent, of course. Oh, you know what? I guess at the time that I built this slide, it was $29.99 a month. So if it's still that cheap, then good for you. I doubt it with the way inflation is right now. So, but yeah, but it's probably in the ballpark. Yeah. Indeed is really good too. It is the #1 job site in the world with over 250 million unique visitors. Now this is a free. They don't have a version they charge for, and some of the jobs have a one-click application as well. But not all of them. So some of them, they're going to bounce you out to that site, and you have to go through their terrible process, right? And it's like a job can take 15 minutes or more to apply for. It's terrible. But a lot of them are set up for the one click. I don't know what the percentage, say 25% maybe are set up with the one click. So that's nice, right? But at least you're getting, if you just choose, maybe 3, I would say if you can choose 3 job search sites, you're probably got a pretty good idea of what's on the market for you. Yeah. LinkedIn Jobs is the critical one as well. And by the way, they do have a one-click thing too on LinkedIn. I don't know why that's not none of my notes here. I might add it. But some of their jobs also are set up for the one click, which is so cool.
It's so helpful.
Yeah, I would just breeze through those and just click, just to see what I would, get a response from. Even jobs that were a little bit distant from my skill set, I would just for the heck of it, it's worth one click, no problem.
How come you didn't put Career Builder or Monster on here?
I didn't use them.
Really?
Yeah, but they're out there. Yeah, they are.
Because for me, from my perspective, Indeed was always the lowest level, like the most vague plus the most wide ranging. So you would get, jobs like, a custodian, but then you'd get like a principal, and it's like, how are we all on the same area? So again, I think that's good for volume.
Yes.
But your candidates, and so again, for me, candidacy, Dice, which I know is coming up here, is very technical to me. Monster and then Career Builder were very common.
Yep, I like it. Yeah, I did go out on Career Builder some, but I didn't really use it. I remember I clicked on the site, but I didn't do anything with it. Monster is pretty. That is definitely that was the original job search aggregator.
Yeah.
I don't know how well they've kept up. Maybe they have kept up great. I felt like they were so ancient. I didn't want to go use them, but maybe they're still really good.
Yeah.
But I think Dice is good for tech jobs. So that's another.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a technical person, so I didn't use it, but I'm just letting people know if you are technical. Dice has been good for folks. And then online job sites have a low. Okay. What I'm saying here is that there's kind of a ratio you're working with on these online job sites. Any of these or career builder is good, by the way. I just didn't use them, but they are good. And Monster might be great. I used to, by the way, just to validate what Beastmode was saying, when I hired in the early and mid 2000s, I think I exclusively used Monster and Career Builder. So he's not wrong. Yeah, they are. I mean, they are powerhouses. The thing about these is
mainly because of how they search. Mainly because of how they search. That's the reason why they're powerhouses. LinkedIn is getting there, which is why LinkedIn may be skyrocketing very quickly, is because they had a big issue with how you could search, and it just wasn't very user-friendly from the recruiter side. It was very user-friendly from the job seeker side. But if nobody could find you, then it defeated the purpose, so.
Yeah, and I have complaints. Like I Glassdoor jobs I used a lot. I don't think I listed that here anywhere.
No,
I didn't.
We talked about them 3 sessions ago then.
Okay. Glassdoor jobs I used personally a lot. They have an app, so I'd sit there and watch TV in bed with my wife, and I'd be using Glassdoor jobs and just clicking on jobs for Glassdoor, which you should really learn to turn off. Don't be like me. Like you should be able to watch a TV show with your spouse and not do that. But whatever. I had a lot of stress. Glassdoor jobs, and then another one. So Glassdoor jobs was pretty crappy, but the employers are very engaged out there. So that's one reason why, even though the software that they put you through is terrible, your user experience is terrible, they have a pretty good amount of jobs. So it's pretty good for that. And then another one that's terrible, it's in the news a lot, is ZipRecruiter. The experience is hellish. It's a terrible user experience. And I genuinely want to yell at them, like, to their face. I'm like, does anyone actually use this does anyone who writes this code have to actually use it? Because it's a piece of crap. Like, the Ladders is elegant software. Indeed is good. LinkedIn job, that's all good software. But you get into like Glassdoor jobs, it's a pretty good amount of jobs, but the software's terrible, and so is ZipRecruiter. So ZipRecruiter is, like, I would call them horrible. I was about to say something stronger than that, and I decided not to.
There you go.
There are many job search websites, but if you this is my principle. If you regularly follow up with 3 or 4, you're covered. It's good enough. You can't boil the ocean. Even though you're under pressure. If you're coming out of college, by the way, if you're coming out of college, you need to be on the podcast. You need to talk to us. It really will. It'll be very helpful. But if you're mid-career and you got laid off, or something happened, or whatever, or whatever happened, I know you feel like you got to boil the ocean, but I think if you choose 3 job sites, you're going to be fine. But one of them should probably be LinkedIn, to be honest. Ladders, this apply for me thing is really, really cool. And I was able to apply to, so let's say usually my week would get so I do a lot of interviews Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then maybe some Thursday, but Thursday and Friday I could apply for jobs pretty heavily. So I would usually spend, anywhere from 2.5 to 6.5 hours across Thursday and Friday applying for dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of jobs. Probably not hundreds though, probably high dozens, probably more like high dozens. And then the next week I would have like 4 interviews from that. So you have to have a mindset of, I have to apply for like 40 to get 1 interview. And that's really, maybe it's closer to like 30. Now, maybe it's better that during non-pandemic, we're talking about, I had the worst time since the Great Depression, okay, to try to find a job. Fortunately, I had all the tech that, you didn't have in the Great Depression. I had a lot of tech that I could use, and a lot of tricks and social, and all of Beastmode's good advice. So I think I had an advantage, but historically, I was thinking it was like 30 or 40 applications to get one interview. But maybe during a hotter job market, whenever you listen to this, maybe it'll be a little bit better. Maybe like you'll get a response 1 in 10. Point is, though, you need to have a little bit of a volume mindset here. Apply for a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
Using the job sites is a little bit mentally like kind of like carpet bombing. So it's a little bit of, dropping a lot of bombs to hit, a few high value targets, right? So, the idea of leveraging a few job sites every week is visibility. You get to see many jobs. You will notice some companies will post on multiple sites. It's fairly common, actually.
Yeah.
Carpet bombing kind of mentality also gives you the ability to apply for dozens of jobs weekly. And the yield, it's funny, I had a bullet point. I didn't realize I had a bullet point on this. But the yield for me was probably every 30 or 40, you get one recruiter to contact you. And then, out of those recruiter screenings, not every single recruiter screening is going to take you to the next interview, right? So you have to have, a number of screenings to even go to the next level. And then you're, if you go to the next level, now you're at least competing for a real job. The cadence is check and try. And sometimes I'd get behind and I'd skip a week because I'd be busy with branding and with job search follow-up and with interviews and stuff like that. So I wouldn't apply. So I'd have to catch up, and have to go back to the point where I had, applied to the job maybe it was 2 weeks ago. But I try to do it every week. And it's best if you keep that up that way. And by the way, I competed very well for certain jobs. I remember I interviewed for a management job at Logic Monitor, and I felt like I was really kicking butt. I did all these techniques, all these different things to get attention. I had 2 people that knew executives there reach out on my behalf. I mean, I did all kinds of special LinkedIn posts that were focused on my experience around the things they're looking for, and then I pointed those posts to them. I did all these different tricks, and they ended up hiring someone internally, right? So I literally had no chance. So I was competitive for being an external candidate, but I really was not competitive versus them promoting from within because it's someone that they knew. So you just have to be, you have to be able to be kind of healthy quick on this. This is like a job. You have to be able to kind of bounce back from disappointment in that way.
Yeah. Short memories.
Yeah, that's good. Forgetting what is behind, right? Apostle Paul says, forgetting what is behind, pressing forward toward the mark. I mean, we do have to do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that it's so helpful that you had data, so that somebody who's really like doing this, following along, you got to get one, you gotta throw out 40. I mean, that's super helpful. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you. It's just because sometimes you're like, man, I did 40. I think I did great. I'm gonna get 15 interviews, and it's just helpful to know that that's probably not the ratio. It's probably 40 to 1 or 40 to 2 or 3 or something like that. And so I think it's super helpful because you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'm gonna have to be doing 100 or so a week, Okay.
Love that. Good. Also, you want to prepare. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is like on the ladders or Indeed or whatever, a lot of them, they want you to take your resume and convert it into their site format so that people can download your resume in the same standardized format that that they do for everybody else from that same website, right? So whether it's the ladders or whatever, or Career Builder, you have to put it in their format. So just be aware, if you're going to choose 3 or 4 job search websites, you're going to have to spend 2 to 2.5 hours on those, let's call it 4 job search sites, copy pasting and tweaking, and then they're gonna have all their little special questions that makes them unique. You have to answer those questions. And so just understand that you can't just go use a job search website, right? There's preparation, and then you can. And I'm sorry for that. And it's very administrative. This whole job search thing is it's high hours, high administrative. And one thing that Beastmode saw that I did during that search is I kept working out, right?
Yeah.
I didn't lose weight, but I didn't gain weight. And so, and I still need to keep losing, honestly, but you're going to have to, it's so administrative. Now I will say I paused fishing. I did not fish for a long time. I'm not saying how long because it's not healthy. But I did at least work out. And so I think you need to make sure to give yourself some of that, some time for, exercise, prayer or meditation or both, and make sure you have a little bit of investment in yourself because it's so labor intensive. Allow 30 to 45 minutes per job to get set up from an admin perspective. But then the good news is that because you do this setup, like the Indeed one click or the LinkedIn one click, that works. When you do this, that stuff works. That one click job application. So you do end up saving yourself multiple hours of time by doing that. So a little tip when you're mass applying to hundreds of jobs, do not try to keep track of where you applied. That's a waste of time. So I had an earlier job search in 2016. I did that. I kept track of everywhere that I applied. I had this long spreadsheet, and that was insanity, right? Now during the pandemic, I think that would have been physically impossible because it was so much worse. Just because people were shedding millions of jobs, everybody's looking for a job, and it would have been impossible to keep up with the volume of where I was doing that. But don't spend your calories, don't spend your time on where you applied. It's a waste of time. Just worry about responses.
There you go. Such a good tip.
So this is it. Your recap is get your profile set up on 3 or 4 job search sites. Maybe like do 4, but then you may only use 3, but at least you have the option of using the 4th one. Check weekly for new jobs. Apply to many a week. Again, if you don't, if it's gonna take you 40, then you want to make sure that I'm going to do whatever you do this week is what you're going to have interviews for next week. So if you want to have, let's say you want to have 8 interviews next week, you have to apply to 320 jobs, right? That's a lot. And 8 interviews isn't bad. It's pretty good. You want to have it, 4, 5, 6 or more interviews a week if you can.
Yeah.
Some of these paid search offerings are undeniably helpful. The ladders is, you fill out your little stuff and then they literally they have people overseas that fill out forms for you all over the internet. I mean, that's insanely valuable, right? I mean, I told you, I think I had one of my slides says one afternoon I applied to 100 just in one day. So that's pretty remarkable. And then the tip is don't look down on any job opportunity. Take a lot of interviews, even if you aren't interested. Interviewing practice is very helpful. So there were times that I would take the interview where I may not really be interested, but it's good practice and I'm getting sharper. By the end, check this out. This is a true story. By the end, the company that hired me said the VP of sales told me that the team was worried about hiring me because I was too polished. And I was like, guys, if you interviewed for 8.5 months, I think you'd be very polished as well.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not like some car salesman. It's just that I've done this a lot. I mean, I had actually, my wife and I tracked that we know of just by counting my calendar instances that we can know of that we had in the calendar. I had 279 this is over 8.5 months, 279 interviews or job related, some kind of a scheduled conversation. 279. Now that doesn't mean it's 279 companies, because some of these interviews were like 5 or 6 per company. You know what I mean? So it's dramatically less than 279 as far as the companies. But you're going to get sharp at it if you're at that kind of volume. And at the time, that's what it took. So that's what I did. So anyway, don't turn your nose up at a job, and by the way, don't turn your nose down either. So turning your nose up would be, I'm too good for this job. Take the interview anyway, especially early on for practice. But also don't turn your nose in the other direction and be so broken and or so lack of confidence that you won't take a little bit of a stretch role, right? Because you need to bet on yourself, and you need to learn how that feels, and you can grow through that, even if it's a little bit of a stretch role. So I was going for some stretch roles.
Yeah. One comment for me is on the job search sites. Just me personally, 3 sounds like it would be very difficult to maintain a good flow for me, unless you did like Career Builder Monday, Monster Wednesday, LinkedIn Friday, unless you had a schedule like that. But it just, to me, it seems like too much to set up and to maintain. And so for me, and again, I'm not the admin nor the detailed guy like you. So well, I'm just trying to encourage the person out there.
I wasn't perfect either.
The person who's like, 3, 4 sounds like a lot. I'm telling you, sounds like a lot to me. So if you could do 2, and LinkedIn is a must.
Yep.
You said earlier that LinkedIn should be one. I think LinkedIn has to be one. It has to be one. It's the only one out of all of these that not only do you get to have a resume and all that, just like you would on Monster. The difference is, go listen to last week. Monster, you don't get to have a brand associated with it. You're just a piece of paper. LinkedIn, you are so much more than that.
Smart. Good point. I like the integration in your mentality there.
Yeah.
It's good. Well, good luck, guys. So we do actually have chats with individuals on the podcast. So definitely hit us up if you would like a job or business. We talk about, improving people's businesses or their careers or job search or, all kinds of stuff. So feel free to hit us up. How can they do that?
And the best place is just comment wherever you see it. That's awesome. That always feels nice. But if you want to email, feel free to email us at Howie, HOWIE, and AND Beastmode at gmail.com.
Awesome. Thanks for hanging out.
How to help a customer identify a challenge.
You have to get your customers to prioritize their challenges.